We are going to do a spoiler-free review of Ant-Man and the Wasp. So if you're sitting down in the theater right now and you're just trying to get to the part where we talk about this, don't worry, it's coming. We're going to take our time. Before we get into that, though, here is the official Rotten Tomatoes score.
Yes, give it to me, Sam.
All critics, 88%.
Okay.
That's pretty good. Average rating is 7 out of 10. I feel like it's probably going to line up pretty well with
No.
me. Top critics, though, 69%.
Hey.
Yes. So it's lower than a lot of Marvel movies. It also seems a little fair. But I am I'm excited to get into it. So
Yes.
Spoiler-free overview, DJ. Take it away.
Okay, so this movie takes place prior to the events of Infinity War. It is 2 years after Civil War, Captain America Civil War, where Paul Rudd's Scott Lang helped Captain America in the battle in Germany. It went fine for Captain America. It did not go well for his compatriots.
Nope.
And Scott...
And they were fine with that,
They
too.
were fine with that. Scott and Hawkeye, we found out in Infinity War, made plea deals that got them to be with their families. We see what that entails more for Scott, because he's basically been on house arrest for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And in the meantime, Hope Van Dyne and Michael Douglas,
Hank Pym,
have been making headway in finding Janet Van Dyne, who was lost in the quantum realm. And you will hear the word quantum a lot in this movie.
Like, to a crazy amount. There's even a good joke about it.
Yes,
I
there
enjoyed
is.
in the movie. So that's the main gist of it.
That's the main thrust of the movie.
Luis is back, and he's probably the best supporting character any of these movies has actually ever had.
Yeah.
Ned's great in Spider-Man Homecoming, but Luis is very original. He doesn't exist anywhere else in the comics. He's not a ripoff of Genki, and he's good.
Yeah.
Michael Peña really brings it. So,
Yes.
overview, spoiler-free thoughts.
So this is spoiler-free. If you're looking for a spoiler review, full deep dive spoiler review, tune in Monday to the next episode of our podcast. We're really excited. I'm really excited to really dive in and look at this movie.
Dive on in. So for me, I was a little disappointed with this movie. I think that's the best way to say it. I did not hate this movie at all. It actually starts out really funny, and I got a lot of good jokes, and it's really creative. But there are some things that kind of weigh this movie down, mainly that a lot of the cool things you saw in the trailer are about all the cool things when it comes to shrinking tech. And I think that's kind of the biggest bummer of it, because there are a lot of creative things. But one of the cool parts of seeing Ant-Man for the first time, the first one, was that you didn't really know what the set pieces were going to be when they fought. And then seeing it this time, you're like, oh, we know exactly.
Yeah, the two major action sequences in this film are in the trailer. I think this movie plays more towards this. The last movie was supposed to be an Edgar Wright movie, and then he left the project. And then not only did Peyton Reed pick it up, but they had a team of other writers take stabs at the script.
Adam McKay and Paul Rudd.
Yeah, so this is the first one that like Peyton Reed wrote and he directed, and I think it edges more towards his strengths in that it's more of a relaxed comedy. A lot of the plot doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't. It's just kind of there to move us along, and so there's less focus on spectacle and the action scenes and stuff like that as there is in just fun gags.
Fun fact, actually, Peyton Reed did not write this one. Gabriel Ferrari and Andrew Berra, and they've only done one other movie named Haunt from 2014. 38%, not very good. That is not encouraging that they did this movie.
So it's for us. I think you can agree with me on this. Surprisingly, the original Ant-Man is one of my favorite of the MCU films.
It's a nice treat.
Yeah, it's light, it's zippy, it's fun. It's still got creative, inventive action sequences.
If you want to start poking holes in the tech, don't, because it's not going to make any sense. But for the most part, you actually get heist elements, which is cool. You thought you might have lost that with Edgar Wright leaving
the project,
but you actually still got a lot of that.
Yeah, it's a fun heist movie. Yeah,
But with this, they try to lean more into the tech, and with that, you're like, oh, cool. So we're gonna get like more Giant Man, more Wasp, more all this, and it kind of feels like like you had an appetizer, and then someone brought a piece of bread out for you to eat, and then there's going to be another thing where you can actually get the full meal. It doesn't feel like it's a complete story because it is, but it feels a little just like filler. There's not like a lot of stuff besides getting Wasp, and she's great.
Yeah, Evangeline Lilly is great as Wasp. The whole cast is super talented.
Yeah.
We've got Michael Douglas. Paul Rudd's back as Scott Lang, and he's still great. Michael Peña is back as Luis, along with T.I. That whole crew is returning. And we've got Lawrence Fishburne as Bill Foster, Goliath in the comics. And we've added two new antagonists. We've got Ghost, and we've got Walton Goggins as Sonny Birch. And I think Walton, he enters the pantheon of like Mads Mikkelsen in Doctor Strange, where it's like, ooh, we got a tremendous character actor that we basically waste in a nothing role.
And is he charming as hell as soon as he comes on screen? Yum.
And he's part of one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie with Luis. There's a scene between him and Luis that is easily one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie that I think is already online, which is kind of a bummer. God forbid you don't see a single scene of that movie before you go to the theater.
But overall, how did you feel about this movie when you rank it against the other Marvel movies?
Here's, I think, a testament to the strength of what Marvel is doing. I would say that this is one of the weaker entries in the Marvel canon, but it's still a solid, fun, entertaining comedy. And I think that's the strength, that even something that is considered weaker within what is this, 1920?
This is the 20th.
The 20th 20-movie saga, that even though it's weak within that, it's still an entertaining movie. And I think that's the strength of what Marvel's doing. But again, that said, I think I will forget most of this movie in 2 weeks.
And because
not because it's bad, it's just
because it's so filler. And that's what I was getting at. And there are elements you might remember, but overall it's kind of a one and done thing. I don't think I'd watch this again in theaters for the most part. I might own it, but I did want to say Randall Park also is one of my favorite characters. He plays Jimmy Woo, and he's very entertaining.
If you're one of the few people like me that enjoys Jimmy Woo in the comics, don't expect that Jimmy Woo in this movie.
Get fun youth pastor Jimmy Woo,
which is fun. He gets a lot of good jokes. Randall Park is great. If you saw, what was it, The Dictator?
Do you saw that movie?
Yeah, it's hilarious. No, is it The Dictator? It's The Interview, right?
The Interview. The Dictator is the Sacha Baron Cohen.
He's hilarious in that movie. He's such a great comic performer, and he's good in this. I am a little bit bummed because Paul Rudd, Scott Lang, in the last movie, we established that he's got like a master's degree, and he's very smart. And even though he's kind of an everyman within the world of high-stakes superheroics, he's still a smart, capable person. This movie very much paints him as kind of an idiot. And that's a little disappointing.
I will say Michelle Pfeiffer is joining us as Janet Van Dyne, and you can figure out how all that works, because her story in this movie is one of the more confusing elements, and I'm excited to talk about the spoilers of this. It actually
on our main episode,
You remember when we said that you'll hear Quantum a lot? Boy, howdy.
Mostly involving her,
She is just that now.
Her and Ghost are a lot of where the quantum conversations come up. But Sam, overall, it sounds like we're being pretty negative. Did you have a favorite moment in the movie?
No, we're not being. I think it's fair to say we're just trying to work our way through it, because
I'll phrase it this way: we're fans of Young Justice here. I was whelmed.
Yeah,
I was whelmed. I think that's a perfect use of the term whelmed.
Not underwhelmed, because there's some good parts.
Yeah,
but
just whelmed.
I'll tell you one of my favorite moments in a second. I'll say favorite character first.
Okay, favorite character.
I think it will three-way tie.
Okay.
I will say Michael Douglas does look confused on set, but Evangeline Lilly as Wasp is great. There he is in his sweater vest. Evangeline Lilly does a great Wasp. Hope Van Dyne's great. Luis, of course, I think he might be my favorite, but also Randall Park as Jimmy Woo. He's as soon as he shows up, he's just like, what the dickens? And it's just like this fun.
Because he's a bastard.
He's just a fun character, and I enjoy him. But what about you? I want to say my favorite.
You know what? I think my favorite character is probably Luis as well. I think Evangeline Lilly is great as Wasp. I would really look forward to seeing her interact with characters outside of these movies.
Yes, please, and thank you.
Yeah, but I think Michael Peña as Luis he's just a great comedic foil. You know what I mean?
I will. This favorite moment. This is not spoilers. Don't worry. But it is. In the sense that Scott gets big, but that's in all the posters. So at one of the moments when he starts getting woozy, because he being that big, like it's hard for the heart to pump blood around. So he's like, the air feels chunky, and like as he's passing out.
Yeah.
Because I thought, and it's one of my favorite moments because it's really funny.
Yeah.
It's a really cool scene because it's very scary to see someone of that size pass out. Like it's a real serious threat, and that's actually how physics would work. If you're that big and you're sucking in like that much air, it would kind of feel like you're drowning because you're pulling in so much of like a fluid, which is air. It's just like so much in there.
What does that mean when they're small? How does oxygen work when they're small? Okay, all right.
Because if that small, it shouldn't work.
There is an issue.
Hey, thank you.
There it is. There was us at the screening at Disney.
That's your normal height.
That's the normal photo.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Favorite moment.
Favorite moment was that. No, favorite moment is the moment with Luis and Walton Goggins. You'll see it. You'll see it. It's just it's the funniest scene in the movie. I liked, but I also really liked Evangeline Lilly's first action scene.
It's really
Wasp.
cool.
It's a really cool scene. You've seen it in the trailer, and it's still really cool.
It's super creative how they use the shrinking tech, but this does. Although to be fair, we have been a little negative. I will say let's get into some critiques. We'll narrow it down to like one main thing. Like for me, a lot of these Marvel movies have kind of a paint by numbers feel to it. But within that, the directors and the writers and the actors can kind of have some fun, and like you get something that is memorable. In this, you don't, and like it starts out really cool, and you have a lot of like creative choices, like what does Scott do being under house arrest for 2 years? You'd go crarazy.
That was a great bit too. Scott's introduction to this movie is a really fun.
It
scene
is,
too.
and also positive. I wanted to say one of my favorite moments is his scenes with Cassie, his daughter.
The girl that plays
cute.
the daughter is the cutest little girl in any movie ever. She's great. She's a great performer. Paul Rudd has a great chemistry with her. I hope she gets to grow up and actually be stature in one of these movies.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
She's incredible. But I just want to say that like there are moments where it's like, of course that person made that decision because that's how these movies work, you know, or like that's of course like, are they really bad? We'll keep it ambiguous, but it's like they did murder 50 people, so it's like I wouldn't call him a good guy. There's like stuff like that where it's like it felt like the writing just kind of got a little lazy and didn't really, it kind of loses momentum a little bit in the middle, where in other movies with similar formats, it kind of is able to figure out ways to kind of keep you interested and kind of make sure everything makes sense and you're still like chugging along and willing to get to the end. But it does kind of, its lull in the middle is pretty deep.
Yeah. I think for me, this one of the real weaknesses of the first Ant-Man is its villain is just a very forgettable villain, one of probably the most forgettable in any of these movies.
The most evil, probably.
Yeah, and I don't know, Thanos wiped out half of the universe.
This guy's shrinking sheep.
This one continues that trend, and I think Ghost and Sonny Birch are two of the most forgettable, which is a shame because both of those performers are incredibly talented. And I love Walton Goggins. He's amazing. Justified. He's amazing in The Shield. He's amazing in Vice Principals on HBO. Just not given much to do here, and it's a shame. It's a shame, especially since Ghost's abilities are very interesting and unique, and the costume's really cool.
I couldn't tell if it was real, and that's not a negative. I just couldn't tell if it was real or not. Some of it was, and I couldn't tell about the rest. That's not a negative, but just saying that. Also, at first, while you were saying that, I was trying to think. I'm like, could Sonny's character not be in the movie? And I'm like, it does add a fun element at moments. But then sometimes, like, there's a moment where it's like, oh, he's full villain. Like, he's 100% full
there's
villain.
Both of them, and then there's some supporting other characters that kind of aid in the issues that they're dealing with, and it all kind of ends up becoming muddled a little bit. And it's funny, like the first movie felt very much aligned with the first Iron Man. This very much feels aligned with the second Iron Man, with the way the villains line up and everything.
How everyone, always lines up until it doesn't, and then it's every man for himself. But that's critiques. Rounding out, I think it's worth seeing in theaters. It was still really fun to see all the shrinking tech. The CGI is really good in this movie, especially when they do the quantum realm and microverse and everything like that.
Quantum realm is once again beautiful.
Yeah, it's super
Might even
cool.
be more beautiful than the first time.
I think so.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I like the way they just kind of dabble with that stuff. It's very creative. Sometimes it goes a little too far where you kind of have to like remember all these terms, like you can't really keep track of everything, but it still is very beautiful. I do want to say there are post-credit scenes. There's a mid-credit and a post-credit. Mid-credit's where you're going to get the meat of the stuff, and so if you had to like bounce, you didn't have to see the final credit scene, but it's still worth watching.
Yes, if nothing else, to talk about with your friends, because the tone of it is, the last one is confusing.
It's kind of like at the end of Guardians 1, where you saw Howard the Duck, and you're like, But
I would say this is more emotional, huh?
Yeah, but more like
yeah.
I remember being angry. I was like, it doesn't tell us anything about Avengers
gotcha.
2.
With Howard the Duck, the Howard the Duck reveal was my favorite part of the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
He doesn't like Guardians of the Galaxy.
I like it fine. I just don't like it as much as other people. Guys, thank you for joining us for our spoiler-free look at Ant-Man. If you want more of this and you want to see it when we record it, we're actually going to be doing this live.
Whoa. Starting July 26th, that's a Thursday. Mark your calendars.
Yep.
Boys and girls, 4 p.m. PST. We're going live at twitch.tv/PlayNoggin. So you can go follow or subscribe if you'd like. But also, if you're a part of patreon.com/onlystupidanswers, boy howdy, you should go check out some new details that'll be coming soon. Because there's going to be certain things you can get access to that could possibly mean you win some stuff. And not just
our love and devotion.
Yes, which you get automatically when you help at Patreon. You send us a like or whatever. You're going to get some extra really cool goodies. But final thing, make sure you go and contribute to chaostheorycomic.com.
Please, I'm making a comic over there with an incredibly talented team of artists. It's full of crazy, fun adventures. We've got zombies, we've got dinosaurs, we've got aliens, we've got more that I haven't even mentioned yet. We are entering into the final week, so if you're interested in that, if you followed Chaos Theory Volume 1, want to join us for Volume 2, or if you're brand new, there's tiers where you can get both Volumes 1 and 2. It's a fun, grand adventure. It's indie comics. It's unlike anything you're going to find in the comic shop. So please go to chaostheorycomic.com and contribute today. Oh my God.
He's passionate about it. Make sure you go and contribute. And also, you can get a sweet little Christmas present from yours truly, Ian.
Yeah, there's tiers where, because the comic's coming out during Christmas, that you can get a Christmas card. There was 4 of us, you, me, Raina, and Roxy. Raina and Roxy's Christmas cards have already been snapped up.
That stings.
And so there's only Sam and I left. So if you want a Christmas card personalized from us, go check that out.
No, I'm going to be salty about it because you didn't buy mine first. I'll be honest. Go subscribe. Make sure you like, comment. Y'all know we love you. Sam, DJ, bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh boy, howdy, that was a big bale of fun, wasn't it? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got it. Hold on, I got it.